Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday afternoon, July 21st, 2019, 4:21 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. So we're going to do a methane update today. We're going to look at CAMS data from yesterday, the 20th. They just put that up. We're also going to look at the NOAA data from this week. So we have new methane data from Saturday the 20th. I have the Arctic view pulled up and surface level pulled up. So I've loaded up the movie. So this is where it left off on Friday. So we'll just go ahead and let this movie play, and you can see how fast it's changing. Just in one day, look at the difference. Notice the lighter green and yellow color moving out across the Arctic. We've got high releases still in the Kara Sea. We've got high releases in the Scandinavian countries and northwest Russia, and then it moves out into the Atlantic here. Look at this arm that comes up. We've got releases coming up from Iceland. So the data is from Saturday, and the forecast runs Sunday through Wednesday. Got a lot coming up from China and Russia here. Of course, this part moves across. Alaska's lighting up. High releases coming across Canada. So we'll pause that. Now look at the background level. It's a lighter color of green and a lot of yellow and orange, meaning that the background release is higher than it normally is. So we'll go to the North Pole view now. And we'll go back to the beginning. And we'll let that load up. And I will be putting less and less things on YouTube because of the censorship and the attacks and what's going on. And people can certainly go to a website outside of YouTube if they're interested, or come to my Subscribe page. And Dutch Sense has stopped reporting earthquakes in the last couple of days. He's had so much interference and so much flack, and attempts made on his life and his wife's life. And so anyone getting the truth out there they're going to be coming under more and more attack. Robin Westenra has had awful problems with trying to even record videos and getting them uploaded. And so I don't have trouble recording them and getting them uploaded, but it's just because of the censorship and the attacks, I'm going to be limiting what I do on YouTube from here on out. And I'd like to keep my channel up. You know, I'd like to not have it taken down. And I've created other alternatives for people to get the data. So you just have to break away from the crowd and, you know, just follow a little link to a different place. That's all you have to do. But most people are so caught up that they won't do that. Now we have high releases here all across northern India. That's much worse than last week. High releases coming across, and China's covered up, moving on up into Russia. And we've got a large release coming off of the east coast of the United States. And there's an article and video that have gone viral about methane bubbles coming up off the coast of North Carolina. And I had reported on this there's a big methane store off the east coast of the United States. I reported on that last year and said that we would be seeing methane coming up there. And I had a vision even of it coming up. I saw it. So, you know, if you're tuned in, you can know things. You don't have to follow blindly. Okay, now let's look at the European area. And I've talked about this area up in Norway, Sweden, and Finland, and northwest Russia. And it just seems like this area is just loaded with methane, and I don't know why. It's been like this for months now. And it's getting worse. Europe is about to have another heat wave, so they'll be getting more methane. Look at this. Here's the UK. Here's Europe. Here's France. So this is Belgium and Netherlands and Germany here. That's a hot spot. So you can see the waves moving. That's a sign that the ground is heating up and opening up and letting the methane out. So look at that. That's awful. Now let's go to North America. got a large release down here in Southern California. Going down into Baja, it looks like, and also from kind of the San Francisco area down. This northeast of the United States is a hot spot here. Florida's getting bad. We're seeing it come back in the coast or along the coast of the Gulf of Mexico, here Texas and Louisiana, and now it's starting to come back down through the Mississippi Valley after that Barry storm got moved out. We're going to start seeing that Mississippi Valley region start to light up. Look at these waves moving out into the Atlantic. Got some pretty good methane coming up in Canada. Here, look at in the Vancouver area and Seattle. Okay, now we'll look at the global view. And where you're seeing the lighter blue and green down here in the Antarctic, this is methane releasing around the edge of the sea ice. Here's the western Antarctic Peninsula. This is the Larsen Ice Shelf region, so it's releasing there. Here is the edge of where the Weddell Sea comes up on the east side. There, it's releasing there. There's more release over here. And a couple of other places it's popping up. So you really have to watch this on a day-by-day basis. It's popping up here in the Pine Island Glacier region. So even though it's winter time and totally dark down there, it's releasing. We had something pop up right there. And on the NOAA pictures, it reflects release in the Antarctic as well. Now this is surface level. So before we move to the NOAA pictures, I'm going to switch to 500 HPA, and also we're going to look at total column, and you'll see a huge difference in the total column. Now the HPA is how high up in the atmosphere you are. So this is 500 HPA. This is about 18,000 feet up. It's about halfway up in the atmosphere. We're seeing large, high concentrations of methane over China here and over parts of Russia and over here and over parts of the Arctic and Canada and Alaska. And the orange and yellow colors are fairly high as well. So when you change to a different level, you have to refresh your screen to get the right color chart, and you can't even read what the last number is there because they overlap. But even the orange, that's about 1900 parts per billion. Yeah, that's 1900. Then the orangey red is 1910. So that's at 500 HPA. And we can see the green moving down further and even coming into the Antarctic. And that green color down there is about, it looks like it's about 1850. Now we can't really tell, it's hard to match up the colors with the code, but that's approximately. And oh, okay, I was going to do total column. And look at this high concentration all the way across China and northern India, moving up to where China meets Russia. This is the border right here between China and Russia. It's moving on up in this Okhotsk Sea, or Sea of Okhotsk. It's moving over to Iran, Saudi Arabia over here, and these Middle Eastern countries here. It's also moving up almost into the orange range here in Siberia, the red range, and it's orangey and almost in the red range here in South America at Colombia and Venezuela. So the total column is getting worse day by day. And this time last year when I was looking at total column, it'd just be a little bit of red over China, and that was it. And it wasn't nearly this bad. So we can see from day to day and week to week the increase in the methane, especially now that it's summertime. So I'm going to leave CAMS for a moment. We're going to come back to it to look at sulfur dioxide. Now here are the methane images that I downloaded from the NOAA website, and we have 4 images from the METOP satellites. We have METOP 1 AM and PM and METOP 2 AM and PM, and I've been tracking this at 477 millibars, but the pressure when you go to the actual image here, it shows up as 469. But from the page where you have the choice to choose them like 100 different readings, this is the one where it reads 477. So we're seeing a lot of different colors, and this fuchsia color is in the highest range, and the overall range for methane here is between 1440 and 2342 parts per billion, and the mean or average for this level here right now is 1883. We can even see the fuchsia color registering over the Antarctic right here, and it's getting up there right here, and it's in the red range, the darker red range here as well. So, and the bright red range, we can see it's bright red here. So the Antarctic is not immune from methane, and these white things are where it's missing data, and the gray color is missing data for whatever reason. Now here's Met-Op1 satellite for the PM. This is all for yesterday. The range is 1538 to 2327. The mean is 1884. On the Met-Op2 AM, we have a large white spot right here coming down the Atlantic Ocean and down here south of Australia. It's showing 1480 to 2314 parts per billion, and the mean is 1861. And for the PM, we have huge missing data. The range is 1446 to 2249, and the mean is 1863. So I plugged all that into my spreadsheet for, here's this week, for July 20th, and here are all the numbers. I added them up and divided by 4, and they come out to 1872.75 for this level for this week. So that's an increase of 0.75 over last week. So since we started tracking this since March the 1st, it's gone up 15.50 parts per billion. So here's our graph over here, and here's where we're at today at 1872.75. So here's where we started on March the 1st at 1857.25. So it's been generally on the upswing, but ever since we had this dip here on this week, on June the 15th, we had a dip, and then it started on the rise again. So I anticipate it to continue to be on the rise for the rest of the summer and possibly the rest of the year.